Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew. That is CHGO White Sox beat writer, Vinnie Duber.
Good thing you said beat writer Vinnie Duber, because I started waving. If you changed it up and went to Herb first, I would have been waving like an idiot.
We're in like a 2.5-year groove so far.
Yeah, I agree. I was confident, but I didn't want to be overconfident.
That's the definition of throwing a wrench in it by me. Vinnie Duber, you can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can read his work at allchgo.com. We'll be talking about trade rumors. He has a piece up at allchgo.com that he keeps updating. So you can follow the trade rumors since they've developed all the way back since June-ish, right?
Yeah.
Is there any May in that? There might be a little
There's
bit.
no May.
No May.
We put it up on July 1st, but I believe the first batch were from June 30th. So there you go.
So you could see how they've progressed. The man in the middle, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. A career lifetime record of 0-1 in NCAA football 2025.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It was a tough game. I mean, you can't win Northwestern at Illinois. It's tough to win.
Yeah,
you saw that last year.
You really can't win as the home team, as the better team, playing our guy Chris Pankow.
I don't know if it's the better team. Illinois is pretty bad.
Okay.
Northwestern went to a bowl last year.
All right. You said it, not me.
I hate him.
We appreciate the super chat from Emiliano. We'll get that in a second. Again, I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. We're being produced today by Sarah.
Hello.
Hello. We'll be talking about the All-Star Game tonight. Paul Skeens will be starting for the NL team. Corbin Burns will be starting for the AL team. We'll be expecting a Garrett Crochet outing. We'll talk about what you should expect from that outing and what it should look like. We'll talk a little bit about last night's home run derby as well, along with some trade deadline stuff. Luis Robert Jr., where will he go? Garrett Crochet, where or if, or not if, but will he go? And then, really how many numbers of players will be traded at this deadline. And then finally, Awful Announcing put together the top 30 or just the 30 MLB broadcast booths, and your Chicago White Sox went from the 6th best to the worst in Major League Baseball. And something smells fishy, off, and wrong. And I'm not excited about it. So we'll talk about it in just a second. Thank you for Emiliano for the super chat, $5 super chat. Trade Robert to Philly for Painter and Crawford. Easy. We'll talk about that in a second. I would like Aiden Miller, but hey, we'll talk about it.
He's talking about Matt Painter and Jamal Crawford, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Was Jamal Crawford Purdue?
No, he was a Michigan. Michigan.
Did he
Wolverine? He went 1 year in Michigan and then came to the Bull.
He went to them. He was.
Yeah, he's a Seattle guy. Went to Michigan, then came to Bulls.
I thought he was a guy that he did. He went to Michigan. All right, that was post Fab 5. All right, we appreciate it though, Emiliano. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you are subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. And if you haven't become a diehard yet, go to allchgo.com/diehard. We have exclusive articles for you and also a CHGO Discord where you get to chat with diehards alike. Yourself. Let's get into the home run derby last night. Herb, you said it was boring.
It was. I like the new format that they're doing where just everybody goes out. You have 40 balls to hit and or 3 minutes, whichever one comes first. How many home runs can you hit in that? And that was kind of anticlimactic. I think also the broadcast lends itself to that. I like the addition of Todd Frazier, a former champion of the home run derby, in there. But him, Eduardo Perez, and Carl Ravitch, they just don't work for me. Maybe it's because of the nostalgia. You're thinking about Boomer back in the day when he was just back, gone. Yeah, it got a little old after a while, but that's what we grew up with, the nostalgia of having Chris Berman there and having him do the calls. And maybe they were just more exciting to have home runs back in the day, and the home run derby back in the day. It was like appointment television. Last night, fell asleep couple times in between there because I was like, I have no rooting interest there. I knew Bobby Witt Jr. was going to do well there, but also the only drama really was in the semifinals with Teoscar Hernandez making it to the finals, and then at the end of the whole competition where you had Bobby Witt falling like a foot short of tying up Teoscar Hernandez for the home run derby championship. But otherwise, it was just a boring thing, and maybe that stadium lends itself to it because it's just dark in there. It's a enclosed roof in Texas, and so I didn't enjoy it at all. But maybe if they get out to a fresh ballpark with some different angles and some actual things where you could say, okay, man, he hit that ball 500 feet and it hits a landmark. Like when it was in Boston, that is a great showplace for baseball. When it comes back to Wrigley, that's going to be great. But Texas is just boring, and that broadcast last night didn't work out for me. I didn't feel excited. I know you did because you put a little coin down on your man Teoscar Hernandez, but otherwise it was just ugh.
You feel like it was just ugh?
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
See?
All right. There you go.
See?
Any reason? Were you interested at all? Did you even look to like see what happened?
So, well, yeah, I looked to see what happened.
Yeah.
I cared
Enough.
Well, I cared to see enough to see the result at the end of the night. But no, I was just my wife and I went out for dinner. We wanted to do that instead.
Off, yeah.
And also, I don't have live TV anymore at home, so
Perfect. So there you go.
I'm a millennial cord cutter.
Very nice. Yeah, I like the new adjusted rules. The actual pool of hitters was not interesting. I don't think we thought it was that interesting going into it. And the most interesting
You picked the winner.
Was Pete Alonso. I did pick the winner. It was Pete Alonso, but he was out immediately with 12. I like the actual rule changes. I think the rules are getting better. I think it's a more interesting format, and I think it's a little bit quicker than what it used to be. I mean, like you could have like the Josh Hamilton days, you could have a round be 20 minutes in itself. I like the fact that you are limiting it. You're only keeping it to 40 balls or 3 minutes. And I was surprised with Alec Baum. I mean, I was surprised that he had 21. It seems like that's kind of the threshold, though. Like, can anyone get to like 30? Like, what is the most that somebody can actually
with
just be
40 balls
efficient
thrown?
on?
Man,
Right.
that'll be a lot.
21's a lot. Like,
It is.
I wonder if that is like a little bit of a cap there. Like, what is the most that people can do? Because, I mean, like, there were some exciting runs. I know Teoscar had, like, 3, and then he took a break and then hit, like, 11 straight. And it's like, all right, that's fun and exciting. Like, I don't know what they can do. Is the home run derby just the home run derby, and there's no way to, like, kind of make it any better?
Targets in the outfield.
Yes, I
And
agree.
that makes sense. Something else to jazz it up. I'm getting sick of kids fighting in the outfield for line drives. It's boring. And then people cheering that they caught a home run ball. It's like, yeah, you have a glove. Good job, sir. And it just goes into a sea of people. It just, as Vinny said, if you had targets, even moving targets, oh my God.
Moving targets would be great. That would maybe be a logistical issue, but yeah, moving targets would be even more fun, certainly.
Moving targets would be cool. Maybe moving targets only last for a certain batter, so then they could reset it after the batter. So, like, if you knock down a moving target, it just stays down for that. You get your points and you move on. But I think I know what Herb's missing. You look back at all the highlights from the glory days. I know Herb's probably thinking of 2003. You and Mario just talked about that on Tavern Style. He's missing steroids.
I thought you were going to say he's missing Garrett Anderson.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who doesn't?
I guess 2002, because that was Sammy.
I mean,
but
listen,
you're missing steroids.
Listen, I think
McGwire.
your point. I get what you're saying. I think the idea though is star power, right? And I mean, like, I have no problem with the list of guys that they come up with. Awesome to see Bobby Wood Jr., who's one of the best players in baseball, on there. Awesome to see Gunnar Henderson out there, who is, the future of baseball kind of thing. Like, these guys are among the stars. But when we were kids, the people who were in the home run derby ended up with 500 and 600 career home runs. Like, it was Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Ken Griffey Jr. Like, these guys were in it every year. And, like, not only that, they were home run hitters. They were beefy guys who were going to, they were beefy, who were going to hit balls a million miles. And I also think that as time has gone on, one of the format changes that has been an issue is the moving from the 10 outs thing has made it so the home runs are just like this. They can't even show you home run land by the time the next swing is taken. And so you're talking, Herb, about, the home run call from Chris Berman back in the day. I remember he was still doing it once they started changing the format, and he couldn't even get it out. Mm-hmm. He's like running out of breath because he's got to say it 40 times in 4 minutes kind of thing. And it's like, okay, this is becoming commonplace, kind of thing. Like the 10 outs thing made it so it was a little more rare, the home run still meant something. I'm not saying what they're doing now is wrong. I think it's still probably a very fun thing. But if you're talking about what it's missing that it didn't used to, those are some of the things I can think of.
Well, just to hammer that point home, too, like stars, period. I don't understand why Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are not in this competition. Right. I get it. Oh, it's very important for them to be healthy. If they get injured in a home run derby, yes, that would suck. But it's for the fans. It's for the game. Like, it is a part of Major League Baseball.
Well, who's ever gotten injured in the home run derby?
There's going to be that one time where, like, someone gets injured, and then everyone has to cry over it. Huh?
The Bobby Abreu time, when that's what people bring up, that he wasn't as good as he was in the first half. after his home run derby.
But like that's one example from like 2006. But I'm just saying, like, it is on Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, guys who have secured their large deals, have made $300+ million, $800 million if you're Ohtani. Like, there is no reason for you to be protecting yourself to this level. I know the Yankees need to win a World Series, but like, if it is coming down to Brian Cashman and the owners saying, "Oh no, you can't do that," that is no fun, and why are you doing it? Right. Then you're not showcasing the best you have.
And it's Major League Baseball's event, right? I mean, the teams are Major League Baseball. They're they should all have a vested interest in the event, the All-Star Game and everything that surrounds it being as eye-catching as possible.
And it's kind of going by the way of like the slam dunk contest, where LeBron James is the biggest star in basketball. He has never done the slam dunk contest. And as you guys are talking about, when back in the day when you had the NBA slam dunk contest, everybody did it. Jordan did it multiple years. Pippen did it. Kobe did it. And now it's like fifth guy on the roster. Guy not in the NBA. Mac McClung's won it twice in a row type of stuff. That's the way that the home run derby is going right now, where, Teoscar Hernandez plays with the Dodgers. Who cares? Like, no one outside of LA or Toronto pretty much follows Teoscar Hernandez. It's good to see him win. Congratulations. But no one was like, man, this is a great home run derby because I'm seeing the star that I have watched all year long. So, yeah, you need Aaron Judge. You need Shohei Ohtani. You need some names out there that are going to be catching the eyes. I would watch Shohei Ohtani hit balls into the stratosphere in Texas.
He'd hit like 70.
Oh, my God. It'll be so great. Luis got injured last year.
Yeah, well, so I looked that up, and AJ's screaming Luis got injured in the Derby last year.
That's a lot of capital letters.
From July 14th to September 24th, he played in 56 games, 251, 291 on base, 498 slugging, 12 homers, 13 doubles, a triple, and 12 stolen bases and 2 walks or 2 caught stolen.
Yeah, hurt like he did affected the pennant race.
He missed the All-Star game because of it, but he also played 145 games. He didn't. Yeah. He suffered right calf tightness.
Correct.
I am fine that he participated in the home run derby if he had to miss the All-Star game. I
should have been clear. I was referring to something a little bit more serious than that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like he played in the immediate game after the All-Star break ended. Yeah. So it's not like he missed time. And then again, like, why are we treating this with like kid's glove? Like, you're gonna get hurt having fun. Okay, well that sucks. That's life. Move on. Like, Aaron Judge is that important that he needs to be protected for 10 years.
And this is why we don't expand on the All-Star weekend and do a little more exciting things like who's the fastest runner in baseball, who has the most accurate throw. Things like that, like where you can show off skills of these players without them getting hurt or risking hurt. I know that they don't want to do the fastest pitch because arms and such, but still, like the one thing the NHL does that I love on their All-Star thing, they do the fastest skater, they do the most accurate shot and breaking all the plates around the net. Baseball should look into doing some more of that stuff, like showcasing the stars and how they do things that other people cannot do and how well they can do it. Maybe like the Tom Mansky thing, throw a ball from the outfield, see if you can get into the trash can at home.
Well, and here's a thought too: the celebrity softball game.
Ugh.
I don't recognize any of the people who even play in it anymore, said the old man. But what if the All-Stars just played us in a softball game?
Oh God,
mic them all up. That'd be fun, right?
I'd be cool with that. I didn't look at the roster. Apparently. The NL one and the celebrity softball game. I don't think I can name a single. I'll try to find the roster.
They're probably all like these YouTube or Instagram or TikTok stars that us old people don't know.
Coach Prime was on it.
Who? I'm kidding. Know who it is.
T.O., Tiffany Haddish, Pedro Martinez, Jenny Finch. There's some people in there. Tyrese Maxey, Des Bryant. All right, we'll take a break. We'll let you know about some of our sponsors, and we will continue to talk about the All-Star game, and then we'll get into some trade talk. Herb, let the people know about Mint Mobile.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by overpriced wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I heard that for a limited time, all Mint Mobile wireless plans are only $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they have mobile service online. That's it. They don't have retail stores or salespeople. Instead, they deliver premium phone plans directly to you. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plan with jaw-dropping monthly bills and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with a premium wireless plan starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan or bring your own number along with the existing contacts. Ditch the overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's limited time deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and get your 3 months of unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/White Sox. That's mintmobile.com/White Sox. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/White Sox. Hold on. $45 upfront payment. New customers on 3-month plan only. Speeds lower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Thank you, Herb. And we also want to let you know about our friends over at IL Pork Producers. It is grilling season, so get your pork. There is going to be no rain tonight, I think. There should be no severe weather, Jesus. I think. So it should be a good night to grill. Go out there, get a chop.
You weren't
Maybe
holding,
get a loin.
You weren't holding the big thing of pork on a stick and holding it up in the lightning storm last night to try and grill it up real quick?
I tried, made sure it was a wood stick, not a metal stick, because I've discovered electricity that way. But the chop just went flying. I stuck it out the window and immediately just the wind took it.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, there's a raw pork chop somewhere. I don't know. Maybe the raccoons have gotten to it. But it is grilling season. Get your pork. People who are active need more protein than the average American. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the Dietitians of Canada, and the American College of Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes, depending on training. For a 150-pound person, that's 81 to 136 grams of protein per day. 1 3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals build and preserve muscles. So elevate your protein game with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. From your sausage and bacon for breakfast to pulled pork or juicy chops hot off the grill. It's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product. Paid for by Illinois pork producers. Generations of commitment. Kevin loves a good pork roast with some mashed potatoes and peas. Sounds real Irish there, Kevin.
Kevin's getting his protein in.
That sounds good.
Who doesn't love a mushy pea than an Irishman or an Englishman? All right, let's get into the All-Star Game tonight. Paul Skeens will be on the bump starting for the NL. Corbin Burns will be on the bump starting for the AL. What's most important, the White Sox sole representative, Garrett Crochet, will pitch in this game. But when? Where? For how long? What do we expect from Garrett tonight? And do you expect him to be the first guy out of the bullpen? Third, fourth?
Depends on matchups, but I would have him out early just to have counter all the top hitters in the National League against him. And man, it's good to see Garrett Crochet get the honor that he deserves and the rest of the league to see exactly who this guy is. I wonder if he's going to be extra amped up and he's going to be throwing this 99-mile-per-hour fastball. He's like, no cutters, no sliders. Here's a fastball. Hit it. You can't? Cool. And trying to get that MVP because, as you said, it's our lone representative for the White Sox again. And so we need him to go out and show out instead of the Paul Skeens show, which everybody thinks it's going to be, which probably is in the bottom of the first inning when he takes them on versus the American League. I want to see Garrett Crochet when he takes them out either the second or third inning just to show Paul Skeens, hey, man, you might be the new kid on the block, but I'm just starting him here myself, and I'm just as good, if not better.
Strikeouts. I expect multiple of them from Garrett Crochet. You might say, "Oh, this is a bit of a step up from the competition that he might be facing on a regular basis," as it will be for every pitcher because it's the All-Star Game. But remember what happened the last time he faced Shohei Ohtani?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what happened when he faced Shohei Ohtani in spring training?
Yep.
Do they wait and save him for Shohei though? So is it like fourth inning when Shohei gets a second at bat? Because I'm looking at it. If Burns goes 1, 2, 3. Ohtani goes down, and then fourth up is Harper, sixth in that is Yelich. So really you only face one righty in Contreras. Do you have Crochet come in versus the two lefties and Yelich and Harper?
I'm sure Yelich and Harper are like, no, please no. I'm good. We're good on that. I don't need to go against that guy and wait for him for Shohei's the second time. But yeah, if I'm the American League manager, I want him to go against as top priority players as he can. And since he didn't get the start, that's fine. Corbin Burns deserves it. I would say, yes, you have been the best American League pitcher according to F4. So you should be getting the reward of going either starting or going second out of the box. But I'm sure Garrett Crochet doesn't care as long as he gets a chance to pitch and gets his tip of the cap real quick and then strikes these people out. I'm looking so forward to it.
Tariq Skubal is also in the AL bullpen. He's also a lefty.
He is.
Is there you have any hint on who's going to be the first lefty out of the pen? Will it Crochet or?
Do I have a hint? No, I have no hints.
I don't know. Bruce Bochy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how he rolls with.
You think he's going to reward it based on F4?
I would.
Big F4 guy.
Big F4 guy.
I mean, I don't know if the Texas Rangers have played the White Sox yet. I'm trying to think of.
They have not.
They have not. So he hasn't seen him in person this year, so he probably hasn't been impressed by how great the guy is. I'm sure the Tigers have played the Texas Rangers, so he, of course, knows how great Tariq Skubal is. So maybe he gives him a nod because, like, man, he shut my people down. So he gives him the nod over Garrett Crochet. But whatever it is, I think Garrett Crochet, and I've already did it on Prize Picks. I don't even know if it's a bet today. I did I think it was Paul Skeens and Corbin Burns over strikeouts 22.5. And I think Garrett Crochet and somebody else over strikeouts 2.5 too. I was like, this is probably going to be free money because Garrett Crochet is at least getting 2 strikeouts when he goes out there tonight.
Yeah, I boosted the prop of plus 140 for 2 strikeouts for Garrett Crochet to plus 175. Oh. So I like that one. And you're right. Bruce Bochy has seen Tariq Skubal 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 6 1/3, 5 hits. 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. So he's been very, very good against the Texas Rangers. We'll see what happens. Hey, maybe Garrett Crochet's used as a closer because that's the future of Garrett Crochet after the trade deadline.
That's how the Rangers would use him if they got him?
Probably.
Is that what you're saying?
Hey, get your ass to the closer round.
Hey, last year they traded for a closer, a lefty closer, and they gave up Cole Reagans. So, hey, maybe we trade Garrett Crochet for a Cole Reagans. We'll use that transition to go right into Garrett Crochet talk. What do we expect from his trade market? The more and more we get to July 30th, the closer and closer we get. We're 14 days away. I still have no idea. I feel like I know less, honestly, than I did opening day about Garrett Crochet. The more and more I've seen him, the less I understand. Oh, also, Garrett Crochet, he's probably going to only throw 15 pitches in this game. So I think he's probably going to average around 99 with his fastball, right? Like, I mean, he's going to truly be able to let it go. He knows that there's not going to be a second inning for him. So, I mean, you should be able to see him light it up tonight. Anyways, the question I was trying to ask.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we do have a lot more to learn. I think you're right. I think which teams are going to be very aggressive in their pursuit of starting pitching, which teams are going to be willing to give up a lot in their pursuit of starting pitching. I don't think it is a great leap to say that there are going to be a lot of teams looking for starting pitching, but it's the ones who go the extra mile that end up getting the player, right? And so we're going to find out which of those teams are chasing a talent like Garrett Crochet. But as you alluded to, what do each of those teams that are going to be looking for starting pitching think of what Garrett Crochet can do for them the second half of the season? Because while we can watch him pitch for the White Sox, and yeah, they've talked about how they're going to limit his workload, but we can look at what he's done so far and say, that's the kind of guy you want starting in a World Series game for you and being able to go 7 innings. Other teams are going to be like, well, can he? And would we be best served using him that way? It might be more of a future acquisition for a team that gets him if they think that they have to limit him so dramatically over the second half of this year. So if the White Sox are sitting there thinking, we've got an ace, a top-of-the-rotation starting pitcher, you should be giving us the return package that is in accordance with that value, is any other team out there going to be like, yeah, we'll give that to you because we think that too? Or are they going to be like, you're giving us a guy that we can only use for X innings the remainder of this season. Why would we be so willing to give all this stuff up? We're trying to win the World Series right now. I could see there being a disconnect. And I'm not saying there will be, but I could see there being one to the point where Garrett Crochet stays on the White Sox past the end of this month. But there's going to be a lot of talk and a lot of roller coastering in terms of rumors and national reports and stuff as we make our way to July 30th. And we're probably going to have this discussion through different lens multiple times over the next couple weeks.
And to speak to that point, AJ's talking about the White Sox drafting a kid, and that's the focus of Chris Getz right now. Still on the MLB draft. Like, they haven't really concentrated on exclusive. We need to trade these players away. 14 days away, like you said, Sean. That's why I think Garrett Crochet, and the reasons you brought up too, Vinny, it's going to be really hard for the White Sox to trade him away in the 14 days they have left over, because it hasn't been their single-minded focus. Now, if it was, hey, we need to trade Garrett Crochet and we have a month plus to do this, and we've had conversations with all these teams and we set up parameters with a couple of them, and then we can pull the trigger on that last day, cool, got it. But their focus has been on this draft, and now after the draft is done today, then they can go, okay, let's get these people traded away. Let's concentrate on this. That's why I think it makes more sense what Vinny was saying to trade Garrett Crochet in the offseason and Luis Robert, because teams will have a little certainty of, okay, this is what his first year as a starting pitcher looks like, and this is how we can actually trade for him. This is the value we see in that guy, because now we have him for 2 full years. Even if he gets hurt, we still have the roll of the dice of, at least he pitched that first full season. We know he can go 150 plus innings, and it's not a question. Not we're acquiring him and we don't know. Maybe he can go a couple more innings for us, but maybe we can't. So that's why I think it's going to be very hard for the White Sox to actually trade to the guy, because personally, I don't think they want to. Secondly, it's going to be very hard for them to get this done in all the time that they got to trade other people too. Like, they're looking to trade Fetty, and they're looking to trade other players on this team.
He's got 14 days.
It's still not a lot of time, Sean.
He's been having conversations that he's been reporting on since June.
It's plenty of time, Herb. I will push back on the idea that no one has thought about the trade deadline until right now. There have been conversations. We heard Chris Getz getting peppered regularly with phone calls way back before the draft started. I get what you're saying, and it's played out in the way that baseball in general has waited now until the draft is behind it to shift into that season, that trading season, right? But if you don't think these conversations have been happening leading up to this point, that's not correct.
No, I didn't say that. The conversation's been happening. I said the single-minded focus is now on trading players away. Before it was, oh yeah, we got to trade these players, but also the draft's coming up. We need to talk about that and have our focus on the actual draft. Now it's, okay, we can focus on the trades. And yes, they probably have parameters with other teams, but I don't think Chris Getz is calling these people and saying, what do you got for Garrett Crochet? I think these teams are calling Chris Getz, and now he's got to make a decision on, do I want to trade him? Is it worth enough? Do enough teams have interest in Garrett Crochet and the players available to get me the players I want on my team? And what I see is Garrett Crochet's true value, as Vinny was saying. Like, they might think of him as a bullpen guy and operate on that type of level instead of a top-of-the-rotation guy that you can have for this pennant race.
And to that point, too, talking about trading him in the offseason or not, I don't see the point of trading him in the offseason. If you can't trade him at this deadline, why wouldn't you want a Dylan Cease scenario where, hey, look how good this guy is in spring training. Hey, look, he had a full offseason. He's still the same guy. We expect him to do this on opening day. We expect him to do this in May. We expect him to do this in June. And hey, if we're still out of, if we're not competitive come July of the 2025 trade deadline, we could trade him again, because you'll have a year and a half of control. I don't know if there is a rush to trade Crochet, and I think that you're right that he's waiting. Getz is waiting for people to come to him. It's just all about getting that right package. I'll talk about what teams might pull that trigger for Crochet in just a second, but let's take a break. Vinny,
yes,
I know you're a big car guy.
I own one.
You own a car?
Yeah.
Whoa,
that's weird.
Do you own a CDJR?
I do. Yeah. Yeah, I thought there was more to your little intro there. Okay.
Just read it.
Folks, make Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram your #1 draft pick this summer to find the perfect new car for you. This July, shop a wider selection of vehicles at Ray CDJR and score new lower prices across their huge inventory during the Make This the Summer event. For a limited time, lease the new 2024 Jeep Compass Latitude Luxe for only $189 a month. Or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you land the perfect vehicle at the perfect price. Because with Ray's Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry in to Ray's CDJR today and shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories. Then drive home with more money in your pocket than you would expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they are the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963.
Thank you, Vinnie, and get ready to be the most stylish of your crew this summer with Cuts. Most guys would wear a T-shirt every day of their lives if they could. I'm wearing a T-shirt.
I am too.
Herb's wearing a T-shirt. Vinny's wearing a T-shirt. Sarah is not a man, but she is also wearing a T-shirt. And Cuts now has T-shirts that are acceptable to wear at work or even on a hot date night. Today's sponsor, Cuts, has finally changed the T-shirt game. Their T-shirts are such high quality, they're wrinkle-free, and they're buttery soft, so you can look your best when dressing up, even when you're dressing down. And you heard that right, wrinkle-free, so you never have to substitute comfort for fashion ever again. Dive into the summer with our friends Cuts, and not only have they changed the T-shirt game, they also have tons of other simple yet sophisticated items. Their bottom stretch to fit joggers look way better than your khakis and are 1,000 times more comfortable. All of their clothing is as comfortable as athleisure, but fashionable enough to wear to work or backyard barbecue. So ditch your old, sweaty, dingy T-shirts and enjoy Cuts premium fabric. When you touch something from Cuts, you can immediately feel the quality. Their proprietary fabric buns are ridiculously soft and breathable. They don't wrinkle, and they look way more expensive than they actually are. So embrace the summer state of mind with Cuts. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off your order when you use code CHGO at checkout. That's 20% off your order at cutsclothing.com, CUTSCLOTHING.com, with promo code CHGO. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the perfect blend of style and comfort with our friends over at Cuts Clothing. All right, Garrett Crochet, what team do you think will end up acquiring him? If they finally, what team is desperate enough? You have the Orioles and the Guardians fighting for the top spot in the American League. You have the Phillies currently at the top of the NL. Dodgers aren't too far behind them. We've heard some rumors from Bob, specifically linking the Yankees to Crochet, the Dodgers to Crochet, and the Padres to Crochet. Is it one of those three teams that maybe Bob's mentioned? Any of the other teams that are atop the heap?
Certainly the answer is we'll see, but the Dodgers do stick out to me as a sensible landing spot because of the mix of desperation and the willingness to spend in various ways on top talent, right? The Dodgers, we know everything they did this offseason. It was outrageous, the amount of money they spent, the amount of talent they brought in, and while they are sitting at the top of their division, that pitching staff is in some dire straits at the moment. They got a lot of guys on the injured list, a lot of guys with long-term injuries, and you wonder, is it going to be a situation just like last year where here they are, the Dodgers, the best offense in baseball, and then they get to the playoffs and their pitching staff is a shambles and they're out in the first round because they are wondering who they're going to be able to start. It's crazy that this would happen to them again, but I would say that the desperation is probably kicked up a notch because of everything they did in the offseason. They cannot afford to have that happen again. So I think their desire to add pitching will be very, very high. And given what they have invested in the short and long-term future of their team from outside their organization, perhaps they are more willing to spend more, right, to ensure that they will get to that end goal of winning the World Series. In this case, it would mean prospect capital instead of dollars, but I see them as being a sensible landing spot. Of course, they're not the only potential one.
I think it's the Orioles because what they experienced last year where they won the AL East and then quick exit out of the playoffs really quickly. And then this year, with all the injuries they've had, they can't, just sit back on their hands and just say, oh, maybe we'll get in, maybe we'll do some damage, and maybe Corbin will save us, and we'll have Grayson come as our number 2 and all that stuff. No, they got to throw caution to the wind. They can't play all the prospects that they have. They can't. There's too many of them. And so I think that Elias is going to push all his chips in and go for Garrett Crochet and say, hey, we just lost 5 of our last 6, including 5 in a row, a sweep by the Cubs at our home, and the Yankees, our biggest competitor in the AL East, took 2 out of 3 at our crib. We can't have that in the second half. So we got to push the pedal to the metal, and we got to make sure that we have our front of our rotation fortified. So when we do get into the playoffs, we can have a successful attempt at winning this World Series instead of leaving it to chance. I think every team in Major League should look at the 2021 White Sox as a template and saying, yeah, remember when they were hot? Look at them now. The window closes quickly. So if you're not going to strike and you can't win the World Series next year, you got to win this year's World Series this year. So I think the Baltimore Orioles, especially with new ownership, wants to win this World Series, wants to win this year. And so I think they'll push their chips in and go and get Garrett Crochet.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know if they will, because I think Fetty makes more sense for them. I mean, they've been so conservative with trading prospects. They didn't even want to go out and get Dylan Cease, a guy who we knew could start 32 games for you in a major league season. They went with Corbin Burnes because he was a cheaper option, even though they have the prospects. I don't know if they, with all the question marks around Crochet and his workload, I don't know if that's going to be their guy. Emiliano with another super chat. We appreciate Emiliano, and he also has some Cuts Polo, so appreciate you supporting the sponsors. Crochet to San Diego for Salas and DeVries. If Salas is untouchable, replace Snelling. Baltimore makes sense too. Again, we talked about Baltimore. I don't know if it makes sense because I don't know if he's a starter, and they definitely need a starter. And then with San Diego, I think that's too expensive. We heard from, or at least I read it, at allchgo.com, due to Vinnie Duber's updated trade rumors, that the Yankees, or Chris Getz is looking to the Yankees and looking for Spencer Jones specifically in a deal for Garrett Crochet. Ethan Salas is the 5th best prospect in baseball. Spencer Jones on that list is 74th. Leo DeVries, I think, is 80th. So DeVries is closer to a headliner than Salas, at least for Crochet. If they're trading Robert, I think that Salas would have to be included for a San Diego trade. But I don't know about that for Crochet. Looking at possible deals that might comp to a Garrett Crochet deal, last year, maybe it's like Justin Verlander being traded back to the Astros from the Mets. The Mets ate a ton of salary to even have that trade happen, but the Astros sent 2 of their top 4 prospects to that. Just looking at a prospect return, they ended up trading the Gilbert, Drew Gilbert. Drew Gilbert, Houston's number 1 prospect and the number 68th prospect in baseball, and Ryan Clifford, Houston's number 4th prospect, to the Mets. Maybe it's a little bit more intriguing. Maybe it's like the 1st and 3rd of a team's prospect dealing, but I think it is a top 70 prospect or top 75 prospect that they're looking for as the headliner, capital the headliner.
And again, I don't blame them for doing that. I mean, Garrett Crochet has undoubtedly been one of the best pitchers in baseball, and I get everything that comes next is maybe a little bit hazier than that. But if you're the White Sox and you're valuing this guy as a top-of-the-rotation starting pitcher who can do what he's done over the last 3+ months, why is that bad? That's not bad. And if it means that you don't make a trade this summer, well, then guess what? You still have one of the best pitchers in baseball. That's good for many reasons, chiefly that you could keep him on your team. But if that means they want to try to trade him in the winter, in the spring, next summer, those doors remain open to them. So you're absolutely right in saying there's no rush to trade him. This is exactly the conversation we had with with them and Dylan Cease in the winter, and obviously it was 2-3 more months before they ended up actually trading him. It's the same conversation we're having now with Crochet, and it might even be a longer period of time before they end up trading him.
And I know the season's been terrible for White Sox fans, but this is the building blocks of the future White Sox team. So this next 14 days is going to be really exciting. And Chris Getz has all the cards. He's running the show right now in Major League Baseball with all the people they have as far as trades they want to have. And everybody's been coming to the White Sox for their talent. And so Chris Getz can just be sitting back, chilling, and saying, hey, I'm running things in MLB for the next 14 days. So this is good for you White Sox fans. We're finally getting some shine because this is where we're going to be trading some players away and getting some good prospects coming back. And I hope if Garrett Crochet does get traded, we get this big-time package that everybody's like, okay, I hate that Garrett Crochet is on some other team, but, man, those players that got back, oh, my God.
One more thing on the Dodgers front, too. Dodgers need bullpen help as well.
Yes.
And so if we're all wondering, would a team get Garrett Crochet if he can't be a starter? Dodgers could use him in a few areas, to be quite honest. And, again, I'm not sure Garrett Crochet – I shouldn't say I'm not sure. I'm very confident that Garrett Crochet has no interest in pitching out of the bullpen for whatever team in the second half. But I'm sure he has a lot of interest in winning a World Series too. And so if that was the case, maybe that would be a little bit more interesting to him.
I know Shohei's calling his GMs like, hey, get that man so I don't have to face him anymore.
It seems convoluted, though. Like, I know that Bob's mentioned an extension. Does he have to sign an extension before he's traded? He can't decline a trade.
No, of course
not. So, like,
I know,
but if that scenario came up where they're like, we want to put you in the bullpen, does he just have to accept that? Or, like, if there's not an extension to guarantee him being a starter, like what true... Can he advocate for himself? Can he actually truly push, like, I am going to be a starter besides speaking his mind? Like, I do think that it's a little short-sighted from Garrett and his agency to not look into an extension. If you want to be a starter, the White Sox can guarantee that you'll be a starter if you sign an extension. But if you're traded to the Dodgers, they might put you in the bullpen.
Yeah. Again, I think that the conversation is that any team that would be trading for him would be happy to have him be a starter come opening day next year. It's the idea of, if we're trying to compete for the World Series and you only have X innings on your arm, how can we make the most of those X innings? And the idea might be use them only 1 inning at a time rather than 5, right? And so that might be the thing there. When it comes to that extension mention, I think the idea there would be like, we want to extend you now so we are sure to get you as the starter far into the future in case we overwork you this year and you might injure yourself, or just we have concerns about an injury to begin with.
But remember, the Dodgers acquired Tyler Glass now and pretty much immediately extended him. That guy hadn't pitched over 150 innings in his whole 120 innings in his whole career, and now he's looking like he's going to do that easily. And so, without seeing him being the everyday first starter, they gave him an extension. I see the Dodgers doing that with Garrett Crochet if they wanted to. They have no problem with doling out money to players that are not theirs that they acquire via trade. They did that with Mookie Betts too.
Yeah, Emiliano with another super chat. Appreciate it. White Sox hold all the leverage. They can keep him and extend him. There is going to be a bidding war when he's the best starting pitcher on the market, and 10 teams want him. I don't know if 10 teams want him.
29 teams want him.
30
teams.
30.
We've heard that 15 teams have been calling. Like, how many teams are actually being serious about acquiring Garrett Crochet? I'd probably say it's 5 to 8. But I mean, they do have all the leverage, and again, that's why he's not making calls. If you want Garrett Crochet, you have to make yourself known to Chris Getz. So we'll see. And apparently, as we've heard, he's getting calls. So there you go. Luis Robert Jr. Yes. Is there a team that you think that he will go to if he's traded? Is there a team that you think is lurking like a great white out in the waters, ready to attack?
I think an underrated team and a team that makes sense to me is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I know that you guys are like, what? Pittsburgh Pirates? Starting pitcher tonight is Paul Skeens.
Herb's just trying to get Skeens on the White Sox.
He's a top of the rotation pitcher. And as I was talking with the Orioles, like, yeah, it's not they're going to be in the playoffs necessarily, but they're a game out of a wild card hunt right now. And with Paul Skeens at the top of the rotation, Jared Jones coming back eventually at the end of this month, that's the way they can acquire actual great talent that's committed, that has money already set aside. There's no exorbitant price to Luis Robert Jr., and their center field play has been bad. Like, Jack Sawinski has not done the job there. And so adding Luis Robert Jr. to the middle of that lineup makes that team that much better, and they can make a playoff run. Like I said, they're a game behind, I think it's the St. Louis Cardinals for the last wild card spot. And so I think the Pittsburgh Pirates are a team that you can possibly see as a team that would be into, like, hey, this is our chance to get a superstar without paying him superstar money, because that guy sucks. Bunting, what is his name? Robert Bunting?
Oh, the owner?
Or whatever his name is.
Something like that.
Yeah, they hate him out there. It's like we kind of do not like Jerry Reinsdorf. They hate him out there too.
Bob Nutting.
Herb, you might be in the right state. I don't know if you're at the right end of it, though. I think people bringing up the Phillies, and I think that is something. I mean, again, you got to remember what teams make these kind of massive deals, and they're the teams that are pushing all the chips in because they're ready to win today. And as you know, maybe you can make a case for the Pirates to add that sort of player, but they're going to get outbid by a team that is ready to go and ready to win this thing this year. The Phillies are that team, and the Phillies also have that that same desperation that I was talking about with the Dodgers earlier, except the Phillies haven't won the World Series with this bunch. They haven't won the World Series since back in, what was that, 2008, right? So they're really looking to get this done. They've gotten close, but they're looking to get this done with, think of all the money that they've spent on the players that they have on their current roster. It's about finally making that pay off. And so I can definitely see a team like that being motivated to acquire Luis Robert Jr., but at the end of the day, I'll stick with what I've been saying for a while until we see something different. I just think that asking price has got to be so high that no team is going to want to meet it, and I think he's a White Sox come August.
A team that also has a real drive to win the World Series after signing Harper, being close, spending money on all of their pitchers, Nola, Wheeler, etc. I mean, this might be their best chance or final chance to win a World Series. Adding Luis Robert Jr. in center field would extend that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that team's damn good right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't really need anybody to be a World Series contender than the guys they currently have, but that's what these teams do, right? Is the rich get richer. It's an arms race. They try to push themselves so far above everybody else that they are the undoubted favorite. The Phillies got Luis Robert Jr. They would be the undoubted favorite to win the World Series this year.
Yeah, and I think to talk to the chat and a little bit to what Herb said, I don't think the Pirates are at least a team that would be able to make a Luis Robert Jr. offer because their best prospect right now that isn't a major leaguer and Jared Jones or Paul Skeens, and even with it, it's a pitcher. Bubba Chandler, also a pitcher, and he's 51st. Like, they have to be getting a top 50 prospect, and Chandler, if he's 51st, you could definitely make the argument that he's top 50. He's one away. But they I think, need a top 50 position player to headline, and not even top 50, like top 25 to top 10 for Luis Robert Jr. with the control and with the added value of him playing the second most important defensive position in Major League Baseball.
And playing it well.
Third, I guess, if you want to go catcher, shortstop, center field, playing it at a second, Gold Glove level, and then also being able to provide 35 doubles and 35 homers. I know you're pointing to the top 10 farm. I don't care. What does the top of the top look like?
It's like,
what does the top
pitchers
of their farm look like? It's mostly
Tamar
pitchers.
Johnson, too, second base and shortstop that's in high A right now.
But, that's the thing is, Tamar's little. Tamar's got some speed. He's got a little bit of pop, but, you're trading away Luis Robert Jr., a guy that you could tell from when he was 18 years old was a superstar. You have to. You're trading a franchise changer, and you have to get a player that is a franchise changer to headline that deal. If you're not, you're just not. You're not trading him for the right reasons. You're trading him because you need to flip this as fast as you possibly can. And if you're flipping them for guys who might be good, just take the guy that's going to be good for the next 3.5 years and put more money into the team if you actually want to be competitive.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade him.
I know you don't. But I'm just I don't know if the Pirates would do it for me. I think Philly is in there. DePoto and what's his face in San Diego, Preller, are crazy. So I would throw those three in there.
They like to trade.
They do like to trade. And there's been talks between the Padres and Sox before. So I mean, maybe that's the team. But I'm kind of in the mood that Luis Robert Jr. and Garrett Crochet aren't traded.
That would be my pick. If you're asking me what do I think is going to happen as of this moment, I would say both those guys are on the White Sox after the deadline because the price is deemed to be, whether it actually is or not, but deemed to be too high for the other however many teams are out there contending and looking to add players.
Is it a failure if they don't trade him?
No,
absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. The teams didn't reach what Chris Getz wanted, and that's what I want. I want him to set a price. They don't meet it. Bye. We got these guys for 2 and 3 years respectively.
Yeah, and to Drake, any chance Arizona has interest in Luis Robert Jr. Crochet? I think every team has interest in these players. It's just, what is the actual motivation? Arizona spent a lot of money.
They're a team that did that thing and is kind of in the all-in mode right now. I don't know if they're quite as good as they were last year at the moment, but they're a team that would probably be interested in capitalizing on this window right now.
I wonder if they could retreat at all.
Outfielders,
yeah. I wonder though if they look to move any of these players. If they think, oh well, Corbin Carroll's going to be here next year. No, more of the pitchers they signed, Erod and Jordan Montgomery. I don't know if anybody wants those guys exactly, but still, I wonder if they move away from some of the big things that they spent on this year. All right, so I'm kind of with you. No Crochet, no Robert. Do you feel like one of them goes?
No, I don't. But what about Arizona? If they're just, I know Corbin Carroll's having a tough year, but if you're talking about you need a headliner to come back.
What?
Corbin Carroll for Luis Robert?
They're not trading
They just
Corbin
signed him
Carroll
to a
for
giant
Luis Robert Jr.
extension, didn't they?
Hey, man, who's better?
What?
Who's better?
Corbin Carroll has longer control.
He does.
by like a lot. Doesn't he have like 8 or 9 years of control left?
Trading Corbin Carroll for Luis Robert Jr. All right.
Why not?
Why would they? Instead of asking me why not, why would they?
Because he's a superstar right now.
So was Corbin Carroll.
He's running off tough times right now.
So why would the White Sox want him? He's a worse player then. Like, what do you?
Because that's a superstar in the making and signed for certainty. Roberts only has 3 years left.
Now I feel like you're making the argument for why Arizona wouldn't do it.
No.
Like, Corbin Carroll has certainty.
You guys
and
just said
cheaper.
that they're trying to win right now, and he's having a rough year.
I don't know about this. Emiliano says trade everyone, rebuild the right way. I don't even know. Again, it's not a rebuild; it's a revamp. They won't say the word rebuild. Rebuild's a very dirty word in that White Sox organization.
It's a rebuild.
I'll go down the line. Just say yes or no if they'll be traded. Tommy Pham,
yes.
Andrew Benintendi,
No.
Luis Robert Jr.,
No.
Eloy Jimenez,
No.
Andrew Vaughn,
No. I'm going no.
Maybe. Can I answer maybe, or do I have to answer yes or
You
no?
can answer maybe. I'll answer yes. So that way we're all split.
I think Andrew Vaughn's very interesting as a trade candidate. I wouldn't have said that at all a month ago, and now I'm saying he's very interesting as a trade candidate.
I heard the Yankees for him, and I think that makes sense with him and Rizzo. Lenin Sosa,
No.
No.
Nicky Lopez.
Yes.
Okay, we were talking about this earlier. I think Nicky Lopez has some underrated value. Paul DeJong, is he a yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
but again, I think just because we're answering yes to this many players, like, don't expect them to get like an amazing prospect for everyone. No. They might get cash considerations for some of these guys, or they may get some 19-year-old in rookie ball, and it's a lottery ticket, and it's something.
Yeah. We were just talking about this outside. Nicky Lopez versus Paul DeJong. Who has more trade value? And, it doesn't get to a situation where, a team looks at Paul DeJong and it's like, oh, we don't want to give up, this random 19-year-old. We'll just wait until he goes on to waivers. Because what do the White Sox, motivation-wise, have to, keep him on the team past August?
I think more teams will be calling for Nicky Lopez's services than Paul DeJong's. Because Paul DeJong is, bat? And the bat's not that great.
It's power bat only, really.
Yeah, and then Nicky's got, defense, versatility, left-handed bat, things that teams would need. He was on the Braves last year. I think that people will be calling for him. And like Vinny said, they're not getting anything for him.
Yeah, no. Then I don't think they'll trade Corey Lee. Crochet?
No.
Fetty?
Yes.
Flexen?
Yes.
Thorpe? No. Cannon? No. Kopech?
Yes.
Brebbia?
Yes.
Banks?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyday Justin Anderson?
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe. Jared Schuster?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I'll take the yes from Herb. And then finally, I don't know if this guy will even count because we don't have an update on him, but Michael Soroka.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Probably just because of the injury. I mean, I think he has a shoulder injury from what Len Casper said on the radio.
Well, he's been better since they've moved him to the bullpen, but I don't know if he's been good since they've moved him to the bullpen. So
I was going to give out a Soxby for most disappointing White Sox, and it would unfortunately go to Michael Soroka, and I felt a little mean because, of course, his first half ends with an injury, and he's been trying to avoid injury. I think we said him as a sleeper all-star guy if he could really get to form preseason, and it just has not turned out for him at all. He's 0-10, and I think you mentioned they're 1-21 when Michael Soroka pitches. So not good.
He's the most disappointing? You have it on a platter, and you can't even do your man's? Andrew Benintendi?
But most disappointing last year.
Sean and most people didn't have very high expectations for Andrew Benintendi.
But this is even worse. What, because he got 7 home runs?
I mean, what do you expect? I mean, do you expect your alcoholic husband to show up drunk?
At least, like last year, he led the team in on base percentage. Well, it's low, but still, he had what was considered a all right year last year, even though he was paid to have more than all right. This year, he's one of the worst players in baseball.
He was last year. Was it? I'll find the stats, but I think he was worse last year. Kevin's throwing out Steven Wilson. Whatever. I mean, he's in.
He's in the minor leagues, but maybe, yeah.
Not even good enough to be on the White Sox.
If someone calls Chris Getz and says, "Can we get Steven Wilson?" I'm sure the answer would be, "Talk to me."
Who?
Like he just like, "Hey, can we get Steve?" And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead. Here he is."
I don't think to answer the chat, Drake and Kevin. I don't think Gavin Sheets is being traded.
Pay for the flight. I don't think Sheets is going to be traded. Andrew Benintendi last year, out of 134 qualified major leaguers, was tied for 127th for worst WAR.
Okay.
So, I mean, he was pretty bad last year.
What's this?
And hey, Jurickson Profar, who was the worst, now an all-star starter. So basically, if he's the worst this year, Andrew Benintendi, he's going to be starting in left field next year for the All-Stars.
Bounce back Benny.
For the National League All-Stars.
There you go. You said it, not me. All right. Is that going to do it for the trade stuff? I think it will be. Final thing I wanted to get into, some draft stuff. Vinny retweeted the 21 picks the White Sox have made. There's 20 rounds. They also had the collective, the competitive balance pick in the B round from the Gregory Santos trade. The picks that they've made since the 11th round: Blake Shepherdson, right-handed pitcher from University of San Francisco; Nath Archer, outfielder from Bowling Green State University; Pierce George, right-handed pitcher from University of Alabama; Justin Sinibaldi, and I'm sorry if I said that wrong, left-handed pitcher from Rutgers University; Mason Moore, right-handed pitcher from University of Kentucky; TJ McCanson, the 16th round outfielder from University of Alabama; 17th round Lyle Miller Green, outfielder / right-handed pitcher from Austin P State; 18th round Liam Paddock, left-handed pitcher from Gonzaga; 19th round Nick Pinto, left-handed pitcher from University of California, Irvine. Not Punto.
Oh, okay.
And then 20th, Miles Bailey, a first baseman out of Lincoln High School from Tallahassee, Florida. There's two guys I want to speak to specifically. One of those being the final pick, Miles Bailey. He was the 7th prospect in all of Florida, and he was the best first baseman, I believe, in the country, a top 40 prospect according to Perfect Game. This is going to be a guy that's over slot. I think with all of their picks from 3 to 19, they were fairly cheap picks. There was 2 prep players in the second round and then the competitive balance round, and then they finally wait until the 20th to get Miles Bailey. I think this might be a guy that they're going to go over slot for. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see if they can sign him with the 20th round pick, but
where's
they're able
he committed to?
Florida State. So Tallahassee kid, Florida State.
Pedro, get Pedro on the phone.
Get Pedro on the phone. And one thing that I found out too, I shared this in this chat with AJ. He played for the Styx White Sox Florida team. So I don't know if that's similar to the area code team. I'm not super familiar, but I think that might be another baseball program where the White Sox are running. And this might be another player where they've had their own eyes on already and maybe really like the player and the makeup at 20. I also want to bring up the 17th round pick, Lyle Miller Green. He was born in Siberia, Russia.
Whoa.
This is from Sean Spradling. His name at birth, Oleg Servich Kornev. At the age of 1, he was adopted and moved to Burke, Virginia with his adopted mother, Stephanie Miller. He was adopted 1 week before 9/11. The U.S. suspended all flights immediately following the attach, which likely would have affected Miller's plans to fly internationally for adoption had she waited another week. Lyle, on his adoption, being adopted has never had a negative impact on me. I lived a great and lucky life. I've had great family support. My parents put food on our table, clothes on my back, and a roof over my head. I will be forever grateful to them. LMG, as his initials are, had a prolific career at Austin P. This season, he slashed .393, .533, and slugged .900 with 30 home runs. He also pitched 50 and a third innings. He is the first All-American, first team All-American in Austin P program history, and now he's been drafted by a major league organization. So thank you, Sean, for that write-up.
What a story.
Cool. Yeah, no, right? Very cool guy, and he's also huge. 6'5" Russian. Let's go.
Oh, and if he comes to the White Sox, I'm using his birth name.
Oleg.
Oh my God! And that full birth name
will be interesting. I don't know if he, he doesn't seem like he uses the birth name, so I don't know if that might be disrespectful.
Nope, you're using it.
Okay,
sorry.
Then
don't be disrespectful.
Yeah. to wrap it up to kind of in the prospect / draft thing, Ian Eskridge over at Future Sox shared a photo of Brian Ramos, who is now a U.S. citizen. So he passed the citizenship test. So Brian Ramos,
congratulations, Brian Ramos.
Huge accomplishment there. I've had family go through that, and I know that was a huge day in their career. So it's probably look how happy he is. Look at Brian Ramos' smile. That's a big smile. Mm-hmm. Second greatest day behind his major league debut. And then we'll go to the final thing I want to talk about. This will be quick. We're already at an hour. Awful Announcing put out the rankings of MLB broadcasters and the booth, and a lot of people are fine with John Triffin and Steve Stone being the worst booth in Major League Baseball. I feel a little bit out of sorts defending John Triffin, but looking at the actual booth itself, Steve Stone is better than most of the color analysts that are ranked above him. There is another color analyst in this town that he is better than. I think that he's better than Jim DeShays. That's my own personal opinion, but that Cubs booth is 9th, right? So I don't think that John Triffin has been that bad when you watch full White Sox games where he should be the worst broadcaster and bringing down Steve Stone to that level. Steve Stone is miles better than Dallas Braden, and you're looking at two other rookie play-by-play announcers in that Oakland A booth, in Jenny Kavnar and the Nepo baby from the Carey family.
Yeah.
Those two are very green. Kavnar, I think, at some points has been remote when they've been doing away games, and that has not helped her actually call game action. And then Carey, I don't think he did any minor league baseball similar to John Triffin, and he's like 19 years old. I really dislike their booth. I think Colorado has a pretty terrible booth as well. I think John Triffin is getting, and hey, I know I heaped on early, I guess, but I think that's pretty unfair that John Triffin is ranked as the worst announcer in Major League Baseball so far. It hasn't been that bad. And plus, we have the Panther guy.
And I think off announcing put on the thing, it's also because of the team being awful. So, it's kind of goes hand in hand with he is polarizing. I think they put that in there, and that the White Sox have been bad. So that's how they've been judging that.
Steve Berthum from Arizona Diamondbacks, I can't say his last name, and Bob Brenly are terrible. They're 26th. I really dislike that broadcast. John Triffin and Steve Stone are better than them. I don't know. This is just my opinion, but I really dislike it. The Gigadees is saying the real story is Detroit went from 30th to 9, the Jason Benetti effect. And, I mean, look at his color commentary partner. I mean, that man's going to prison. So
they have
there you go.
17 million of them. Then they commented that get Jason a solid play-by-play guy or a color guy that's there every day instead of Kirk Gibson or this guy, that guy, every day changing up guys. Just give him a person that's there every day, and he'll be much better. But my favorite, of course, San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
Mud Grant. There's no better color analyst in the game. As an older guy, you sometimes run into that guy that's like not analytically inclined, and it's like, oh, in my day, we did this, that, and the other. And he's giving that to you. Mud's not like that. And him and Don Orsillo have a great time in that booth.
Yeah, Don's wonderful. And the best team end up being the Mets. I don't know if I love listening to Keith Hernandez, but
that's one of those guys. Those old dudes like in my day, we smoked on the field.
All right, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox broadcast. We will talk to you tomorrow at 5:30. We'll be recapping Garrett Crochet's All-Star performance, and we'll be talking about the second half and previewing that for the Chicago White Sox. That's Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. The man in the middle is Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at ActorWall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.